So, on today's show, I'm going to talk about episodes 6 and 7 of The Mandalorian. Mike gets a little mad with his In Case You Didn't Know. And Cover Combat 4 is inbound. Welcome to your favorite live streaming whatnotting podcast, Comics and Collectibles in the Crawl Space. I am your fourth or fifth favorite podcasting host, Kevin, and we're a little short-staffed today, but I do have one of the people's favorites with me. You want to say hello, Mike?
Hey, I love it. The people's favorite.
Yeah, the people's favorite.
Isn't that The Rock?
I don't know.
People's champion or something like that.
It might be. So how you doing, Mike?
Great.
Hey, nice background.
Thank you. Thank you. I was trying to fit in. Where am I? Wrong side. There we go. Yeah.
It's pretty close, though, so I don't even know how you tried to make that work out correctly. I gave up on my green screen and my backgrounds a few months ago, so I don't even know how you're doing all that awesomeness with it, but I'm sure it's not as hard as I make it, that's for sure. So anyway, we don't have Patrick with us today. He's got a family thing came up, so we couldn't be blessed with his presence today. And then we don't have his usual fill-in, Tyler, because he also had previous family commitment happening. So it's just us. And I'm sorry, we do have our returning moderator / producer, that does all the comment stuff and the scrolls and all that good stuff. Wait, how did the clap only come in when it was you, Karen?
I have something I've been thinking about since Karen came on
What?
The show. And it's it's always had this certain feeling with that I really like with us talking to Karen in the background and things like that.
Right.
And my family loves the Good Mythical Morning show.
Okay.
Rhett and Link, and their producer, her name's Stevie, and they talk to her. She actually talks to them, from off camera, and I like the back and forth and all that, and that's what I feel, that similarity with Karen on our show here. So.
It's definitely a lot of fun. Yeah. Hopefully, the millions of listeners appreciate and enjoy it as well. So,
right.
But yeah, we've got Karen back with us again today. So we're still a little short, but we're short in a different way than we were from the previous weeks. One of these weeks, we're all going to get here at the same time again, and it's amazing, obviously, when that happens. But obviously, whoever we have here does a great job every time. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. All right, so first thing I wanted to talk about is the Scruffles Goal Sweepstakes. We unfortunately did not have AAA 2019 respond to any of my efforts to reach that person. So we need to respin the wheel, Mike. We need it's been 2 weeks since that happened. I think that's what we gave as a time frame to, and I made a post on Instagram, post on Facebook, post on Twitter. I sent them a message in through Twitter, which is where they follow us. So I tried, but All of this good stuff up here is still up for grabs. So, Mike, do you want to put the list back up, and then we are going to respin? Let me see if I can. I need to move that to the side here. So this is a list. Karen, you want to take that scroll away for a minute so you can see 49 and 50? So someone can, if you see yourself on this list, Mike's going to spin the spinner again. So find your number real quick, and Mike's spinner is just going to have 1 through. Well, what number is AAA 2000? Number 1. So you're taking number one away, right?
Well, it's on here. The only way I'd be able to, I guess I could go in and edit it, but if one comes up, we'll just respin it.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Or I can completely remove it if you want to talk amongst yourselves for a second. I can edit.
No, it's okay. Okay. The odds of one spinning twice in a row would be amazing entertainment anyway. So
it would be. It would be. All right.
All right. So you want to take that down, and I'll make you big and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Then we'll put that back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Once we're done. If only I had set up another camera. I can't see the screen.
All right. I think we're ready.
Green. Is it green?
Yeah, it's green.
All right. Well, I can't see. Okay, here we go.
Nobody can see it.
It disappeared. I love the green screen.
What is it, 19 though? I think I barely saw it.
It is 17.
17?
Yeah, why won't the... Well, there we go.
All right, 17 is the second chance winner. Yeah, there it is, 17. Okay.
Yeah. It's all this green screen stuff, all this technology making the other technology not very good.
Yeah. So who is number 17 on our list there, Mike?
Number 17 is David, the movie nerd.
David?
And it's I guess, is that Instagram? Yes,
that is an Instagram follower. Yeah. So David, and just to make it technical, it's David, David _ the _ movie _ nerd. So congratulations to David. I will be making a new post that David is the winner because AAA did not claim. I'll be making multiple posts, and I will also send him a message via Instagram to hopefully get a response so we can give away all this great stuff for the first Scruffles Goals giveaway. So,
yep.
All right, you want to take that down? I don't have any control over that.
Yep. Ay, ay, ay. It's like all the delays. I'm trying to scroll, and there we go. Everything's on a 20-second delay.
Yeah, we are having some internet issues today, so hopefully that doesn't annoy everybody too much. But it's mostly a delay issue, it seems, on some stuttering and stuff. But anyway, hopefully we were just hoping during the show it wouldn't be an issue because we couldn't figure out what was causing it prior to the show. But anyway, David, I'll send out all those, like I said, ways of contacting him. Again, we'll give it 2 weeks for David to reach out, and we'll spin again. I don't want to announce a Scruffles Gold giveaway 2 and anything involved in that until we have one completed to its ending, completion. So.
Right.
So then we'll not even talk about Scruffles Gold giveaway 2 yet. But what we will do then is get into the next thing that happens every show after we've completed one cover combat. Give Mike his due to fit in an awesome segment that we all enjoy. In case you didn't know, correct, Mike?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Nice. All these intros grow on me more and more every time I see them. Right, Karen?
Sorry. Waiting for Karen's response.
All right, Mike, what we got?
Okay, this is kind of a mixture of, in case you didn't know, and then Patrick usually handles when we lose a big figure in the comic book world.
Okay.
So last week, Al Jaffee passed away. He was 102 years old, so he lived a full life, and and did a lot of great stuff for mainly Mad magazine. So he was born in 1921, passed away in 2023, and he spent 65 years at Mad magazine, and it's the longest as the longest regular contributor to Mad. He actually started at Timely, and he worked with Stan Lee.
Wow, no kidding. Okay, that's awesome.
Oh my God.
Go back up just a hair. He served in the Army during World War II, and he actually met his first wife, Ruth, while they worked at the Pentagon. But after leaving the Army, he worked for Timely Comics, and he created Ziggy Pig and Silly Seal. And Crazy Comics #1 is their first appearance. A 4.0 of this book will run you $25,000.
Wow. Wow.
And then their first cover appearance was Crazy Comics #5. And a 5.0 will run you around $500 for this one.
Wow.
He created Silly Seal, and then Stan had asked him to create a sidekick for that character, and that's where he created the Ziggy Pig, and Stan actually came up with the name Ziggy Pig. So
okay,
they ran through the Crazy Comics.
So is Stan listed as a co-creator for Ziggy Pig then?
I don't think so. I think Al gets all the creative. It was just the name he gave it.
Gotcha.
I've got I have a bunch of pictures that I wanted. I thought I had them in order. Oh, I guess I do. So, but you know, while he created those for Timely, he's mostly known for his work at Mad magazine. And I have these out of order. That is, I'll do these out of order then. That is the final issue. Yeah, that's the final issue that he had. Yeah, and it was August of 2020. That's actually number 14 because DC Comics purchased Mad magazine and they restarted the numbering. So that's actually number 14 from August of 2020. The Mad fold-in, which is what he's mostly known for, that appeared in this issue, was created 6 years prior to its publication, and he actually intended for it to be published after he passed away, but they ended up doing a special Al Jaffee issue upon his retirement, and they used it there. So I think let me see if I have all these. May have these in different orders. April, I think that is his last issue that he had done, and that was in 2019. Yeah, that's number 7. If I had these in the correct order, it'd be so much better. Okay, this is number 25.
And just in your defense, the reason they're out of order is because we're having technical difficulties. So you were having a hard time putting them in order.
Yeah. Gotcha. I was putting them in order, and it was taking forever, and things were moving around a lot. So his very first issue was Mad number 25 in 1955, and the very first Mad fold-in was in issue number 86. And that's the cover for that one. That was actually the second issue that Mad magazine was in magazine form, magazine size. The issue prior to this was the first one. 2 issues before this was the final issue, the small comic book size.
Oh, I never even, there's something else I didn't know about this whole thing either. So MAD used to be comic book size? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It was the first 23 issues. And the reason for it, there were legal things. I think they, as a magazine size publication, they were able to get away with
Gotcha.
more of the satire and things like that.
Gotcha.
Where are we here? Next, this is pretty great. This is one of his Mad fold-ins. That's the board. That's, you know, the original artwork for it. And these are, it was really difficult to make these. It's really clever. You've got a main photo, or main piece of work, and on the left, and then you've got a description on the top, and then some words along the bottom. And when you fold it in, you get the image on the right.
Oh, I totally remember that. Yeah, I got it. Okay, I was, you know, every time you kept saying the fold-ins, I was trying to track. I was like, did you mean a full spread from the center? It spreads out, but no, they actually folded in. Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah, okay, got it.
The back cover, and when he folded it in, the words on the bottom actually came together to create a saying as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember that now. That's great.
I had another stat here. I'm all over the place. Oh, so between 1964 and 2013, there was only 1 issue of Mad magazine that was published without new material from Al. So that's a heck of a run.
Yeah, it is.
For new material every time.
Yeah.
And they had, as collectors of Mad, they had these little kind of paperback book size collections. And one of my favorite submissions of his was his snappy answers to stupid questions. And because, they always say there's no stupid question, but boy, there are. And these are great answers to them.
Okay. So, you have that?
I don't have that. No.
No.
I used to have a few, not that one in particular, but I used to have a few of the kind of the paperback book size collections. Mostly, I think those were Don Kurtz books. But yeah, I wish I had these old Al Jaffees. But I do have all my old Mad magazines from the 80s.
So you said he the last issue he worked on was in 2020.
Well, that was the last published Mad fold-in, which he had done 6 years earlier, and that was what was it? I think I'm trying to remember if it was.
Oh, so he worked. Okay, so he worked until 2014.
No, 2020. Yeah, that's right. It was upon his retirement that they published that one. Yeah.
Okay, so he worked until 2020, and he passed that in this year at 102.
Yeah.
So he worked until he was 99. Can you imagine?
Yep.
I don't know whether that's a blessing or a curse. I don't know. Hopefully he was just doing it because he enjoyed it so much, not because he needed to.
Yeah, I think at that point, I think he was doing it because he just loved it and he was good at it,
Yeah.
So, but that is what I've got this time.
Amazing.
Right, awesome. Or amazing. Some people say awesome. Some people say amazing.
Right.
But rest in peace, Al Jaffee.
I thought I was all organized on that, but
that's all right. It was still good. Definitely a lot of stuff I personally didn't know, and I'm sure millions of our listeners, followers, viewers didn't know as well.
And just in my defense, I thought of that this morning. I thought of doing the In Case You Didn't Know on Al this morning. So I got up and had a few cups of coffee, coming up with all this information. So it's crunch time.
Well, especially now that we know you crunched it in at the last minute, it was even better. Awesome. Good job.
All right, thanks.
All right, so then that'll bring us to what that filled in for, because we had no full cover combat this week. but we are going to spin the wheel to show what the theme for the next cover combat will be.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Let's see if it's probably not going to work again, is it?
Well, it looks okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can. There you go. Yeah, that looks good. Even though I can't. Well, let me make you big screen. Okay, yeah, I can read that. Okay. So yeah.
Just got to keep
Spin
it
her
back.
up, see what our next cover combat theme is going to be.
Volume's down. All right, random artist from a list.
Okay. So we talked about this prior to the show. The way this is going to work out is you're essentially going to make a wheel of artists, right?
Correct.
And then you're going to spin the wheel saying this is Kevin's artist. And then you're going to say this is Mike's artist. This is Tyler's artist. This is Johnny's artist, right?
Yeah. There'll be basically I'll spin the wheel with our names on it to determine the picking order.
Okay. You can do that prior to the show then. Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll have a list of artists, the all of our favorites. And then obviously whoever's first, they get first pick. That way I'm not determining, I'm going to pick Kevin to spin first and he gets, someone else. Everything's random from the whole thing.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So yeah, we know it's going to be, everybody's going to have a different artist. And next week, then we'll reveal what those will be. Right?
Yep.
All right, cool.
I have no problem if you guys want to send me, requests to put on the list.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
So I should probably have more than 6 artists on the list.
That's true. Actually. Okay. I'm thinking based on the last few cover combats, the way they've gone, Pat probably won't want Mignola on there, although he loves Mignola.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
He's an acquired taste artist.
Right.
Right. Here's a question. Should we keep Art Germ, Art Adams, and Finch off of the list since they
already technically won?
Yeah.
Ooh, I guess that'll be a group discussion.
Yeah.
I'm kind of undecided on, actually, I wouldn't vote one way or the other until I gave that some thought. We can see how everybody else in the group feels, though, for sure. So
yeah, I just thought of it right now.
Yeah. All right, so stay tuned for that next week. We'll get the full specifics of the reveal for cover combat. So we won't be doing a cover combat round 1 next week, especially without Patrick being here. We want to have this discussion with him and everything, and then we'll work that out next week to then have our cover combat round 1 the following week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, let's get into some regular segments here. Are you ready to see what I watched?
Yep.
Aside from Mandalorian?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So I actually watched only shows this week. And a couple that aren't on this list. Me and my wife are really into Yellowstone right now. If you haven't watched any Yellowstone, there's actually technically 3 series in the Yellowstone series, and we're watching the one that's just Yellowstone. It's essentially like Cowboy Mafia. If you're into that kind of thing, check it out. It's awesome. But off the beaten path, the stuff that I never heard of before, that I figured I'd check out. First of all, is a show called Dimension 404.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither.
The only thing I recognize Patton Oswalt in the right corner, but that's it.
Yes, exactly. That actually. So this is kind of a take on Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits. It's a bunch of it's a bunch of single episode, one story shots, and they are all kind of, again, like I said, Twilight Zone-y stuff. And interesting enough, again, I say this every time this comes up with I'm shocked I never heard of this because go ahead and take I'll give you two guesses at whoever the humongous star that is the narrator of this show.
Is the narrator for the show.
Yeah. The one that says, "Don't adjust your TV. You've entered Dimension 404."
Yeah. Okay. Morgan Freeman.
Pretty good. Second.
I just always imagine him narrating everything.
Right.
Or Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner is a good narrator too.
Oh, nice. That would be cool too. Incidentally, Kevin Costner was a star of Yellowstone. But
we need someone with a more not a menacing voice, but like a mysterious type of voice.
Yeah. So it is none other than Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is the narrator, and like you already pointed out, and it's actually episode 2. Patton Oswalt and Sarah Hyland or Heeland, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, from Modern Family. They are the two main characters in episode 2. Episode 1, I don't know these people from anything in particular, but I'm not exactly up to whether they may be newer famous actresses and actors. I don't know. Robert Buckley and Leah Michelle are the two main characters of the first episode. And actually Joel McHale, which I do know, him.
Yep.
From Community and originally from The Soup. Remember The Soup?
The Soup, yeah. Holy cow.
But anyway, so that's the 2 episodes. First episode was this kind of dating app psycho episode. And the second episode was, again, with Patton. He's like a big movie buff, and they go see a new movie, and all kinds of crazy things happen there. I won't really give away. That's kind of the gist of the first 2 episodes. I think this has 8 episodes in season 1. I only checked out the first 2, and I'm really probably not in that much of a hurry to check out the rest. Karen, thank you again. Karen saves the day. Hulu. This is on Hulu. It's a Hulu original, and man, yeah, they're lacking. I can't exactly explain how neither one of the stories I watched weren't that interesting. They were kind of predictable, and I can't tell whether they're trying to be completely ludicrously funny, being ludicrous, or whether they just end up that way to me. I don't know exactly. It's just like this weird feel of I can't tell whether this is supposed to be just a 100% ridiculous comedy or it's trying to be seriously kind of again, like a Twilight Zone feel. Those things kept themselves or took themselves kind of seriously.
Yeah.
But this is totally campy. I'd say definitely the first episode is trying to be a complete joke, which didn't really click with me with what they're trying to do with this show. The second episode, it did seem to take itself a little bit more seriously, but there was so many things that were a complete joke in it as well. So it's just kind of odd. I didn't really enjoy it. It's not complete garbage. I guess the acting for the most part is fine, and the stories, just the plot themselves and how they play out are fine. It's just it overall didn't fit my fancy. So I'm gonna give essentially the first 2 episodes like 4.5 maybe. I just enjoy them much.
Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of Dimension 404. I don't know, not campy, but
yeah,
odd.
yeah. Campy's a good word. I think that's a good word. And if I end up checking out the rest of these, I'll kind of, if I need to correct myself, I will. But if I do check them out, it'll just because I'm not feeling like trying to look for anything else, and I just know that's on. Because you know how these kind of things go. The first 2 could just be trash, and I could love the other 6. Who knows? We'll see.
Right.
Or maybe
does it seem like there are different directors and writers for each episode?
Oh yeah, I didn't even look into that actually.
Usually these type of shows, I think.
Yeah, they do. They change that up a lot. Yeah. I don't. They were kind of similar enough that I could see them being the same, but different enough that I could see them being different too. Sorry, I don't have that info.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's a good thing. I should have had ready to point out. So. But anyway, Dimension 404 on Hulu. Check it out. Don't check it out. I don't think you're gonna lose either way. So. Then I watched yet another thing I've never heard of that's got big stars in it. Future Man. This is on Hulu as well. That's actually on the poster there.
Yeah, shake my head.
Can you read the tagline of that title?
Ripping space and time, a new one. Get out of here.
Exactly.
Oh man.
All right, so I'm gonna take you through.
Yeah,
I'll take you through my journey on this one. So first of all, this has Josh Hutcherson in it, which is actually my youngest son's one of his favorite actors. And the other actor and actress on the poster, that's Derek Wilson. I don't really know him from anything else. And Eliza Coop, I don't really know her from anything else, although she did look familiar to me. I felt like I should have. Haley Joel Osment is in this from AI and Sixth Sense. I don't think I've seen him in anything since then. Ed Begley Jr. is in this. Seth Rogen is actually listed as one of the main stars of this, but I watched the first 3 episodes of this. And he's not even in season 1. He's actually in season 2, but I just mentioned him because he's a part of this as well. Glenna Headley. I can't exactly say where I know her from, but she's definitely a familiar actress as well. And then last but not least, Spawn, HBO series Spawn, did the voice of Spawn, Keith David, which that was awesome for me. I love that. So anyway, I saw a ridiculous trailer for this and I'm like, okay, this looks just dumb enough for me to watch and enjoy how dumb it is.
And I assume that everything else on the internet you already watched.
Well, okay, no. So this came up pretty quick as soon as I got on Hulu because I feel like I hadn't done a Hulu in a while. Okay. So I just brought up Hulu and this was like one of the first things that pop up. And 1, it was really stupid, so I figured, okay, this will be fun. Yeah. And then 2, like I said, Josh's Hutcherson is one of Max's favorites, so that kind of draws me to what my kids' favorites are too, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it.
And I watched the first 10 minutes of this thing, and oh man, it was so horrible that I couldn't even continue. Okay. So you might say to yourself now, well, why would you even mention this trash? Well, because then this morning I woke up really early and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just check out the full episode of that so that I can, have some more than the first 10 minutes. I might have even made it the first 10 minutes at first either. I might have only actually given it 5. So I figured I need to give this, at least a full episode to even be able to include it in my review on here, right?
Yeah.
So I watched the first full episode and I enjoyed it so much I love it. I love this show. I loved it so much. I watched episode 2. And then I loved it so much. I watched episode 3. I watched 3 episodes this morning. They're only like half-hour episodes. I think the first episode might have been an hour, but subsequently the next couple episodes were shorter, I think, if I'm not mistaken on there. But man, it is so crazy. What were you saying, Mike? Sorry.
I guess it seems like you know your mood and your tolerances for quality. It does. I kind of lost my train of thought.
It shifts a little bit depending on when I watch it. Maybe is that what you're going?
Okay. Yeah, it shifts. It's and this morning you woke up just really in the accepting mood to go with it, and I think that's great. I love how that happens.
I can appreciate you saying that, but that's not actually what happened, because for the first 5 or 10 minutes, however far I made it the first time I watched it a few days ago, this morning I still felt the same way. I'm like, oh, this is trash. But literally right after that, like if I'd have stayed another minute, that's when it flips on itself. It's like the first 5 or 10 minutes really remind me, and I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again, like early Spy Kids, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, that kind of look. That's how the first 5 or 10 minutes were, right? But then after that, it starts to just kind of tell. Essentially, the first 5 or 10 minutes happen in a video game, and it just looks ridiculous. CGI is ridiculous, and it's stupid. What happens in the video game is dumb as well. But then when he steps outside the video game, which is right when I checked out, it started to tell a completely new narrative, new story. I basically got the gist of what just happened in the video game even more too, and it just started to mean more. And so essentially, this is what it is. So Josh is a gamer. And he is trying to solve this game. Dadgum, what's the name of the game? I can't remember the name of the game. Yeah, worth the 5 minutes of agony. Karen chimes in. Yes, absolutely, Karen. So I can't remember the name of the game, but that's kind of inconsequential. So he's playing a game, and he is essentially the best at this game. And his character's name, his screen name in the game, you can create your own character and be who you want to be in the game or whatever. His character's name is Future Man in the game, okay? And then we go through this other narrative with other recognizable people. I can't even say who they are now. I do know one of them was the Shang-Chi's best friend in the Shang-Chi movie. She's in this too. But anyway... And then another couple, like I said, there's stars galore recognizable in this show. Like every time you even see the littlest person in the background, it's a big star. It's so weird. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he's the only guy that's made it to the final level, and he's the only guy like worthy of possibly beating the final level of this game. So he finally beats it. We experience him beating it. Oh, by the way, too, before I go any further, this is not for kids whatsoever. This is not only an adult show. This is like, didn't surprise me to hear Seth Rogen attached to this. This is a super vulgar Seth Rogen type, gratuitously disgusting humor type movie, like show like that. Right. This is not for kids at all. Okay.
So is there is it a bit funny?
Yes, it's very funny. So this is, I was going to give you this first example. I know I'm being long-winded and saying this the long way, but anyway, he beats the video game. And as soon as he beats the video game, these two that are on the poster here with him appear out of nowhere. And they were actually characters in the video game too. So it ends up, this video game was sent from the future to the past to see if someone could find a way to beat these aliens in the game. And then once he beat it, they came to recruit him as Future Man. You're Future Man. You can save us in the future now that no one else has beat this game but you. You know, what does that sound like, Mike?
I don't know.
The Last Starfighter, remember?
It's been a long time since I watched The Last Starfighter.
Okay, well, let me just tell you. This is essentially the Last Starfighter, okay? But guess what? As soon as this happens, and this is just an example of how it starts to get funny, Josh is like, what are you talking about? I'm not an idiot. That's the exact storyline from The Last Starfighter.
No.
So he calls it out immediately. And then they're like, we don't even, you know, they're humans from the future. We never heard of the last S.C.R.F.L. We don't know what you're talking about, but we need you to save our world. And he's like, well, is this some kind of prank? He's like thinking he's punked, you know, or whatever. And they pull out a time machine briefcase that's a time machine. They start punching in dates and stuff. And he's like, hold on a second. That happened in Quantum Leap. And they're like, what is Quantum Leap? I don't even know what Quantum Leap is. So it's like, it's totally ridiculous. Funniness, and it totally hits the mark, in my opinion. The last thing I'll say about this, and this is with that tagline, which I didn't even notice until I was looking for the graphic for the show. Rips the, what does it say again? Rips time a new one, right?
Yeah, rip space and time a new one.
Yeah.
So essentially, I think this was in episode 2 and 3. They're on one mission. Okay. And at the end of 3, they essentially think they've solved they did what they needed to do. They go back in time. They did what they needed to do. They come back to the future, and they're like cheering themselves like, yes, we did it. We did it. And then they didn't fix what they went out to fix, and they've made things worse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then they go back in time again. Well, they time jump again to a different time, and then they start wrecking. So essentially, this, from what I can take from this, only 3 episodes in, I definitely plan on catching this as soon as I get an opportunity. Oh, there's my ring endorsement, I guess. I'm giving this a solid 9. If I were into probably gratuitously vulgar humor, if that was really my jam, I'd probably give this a 10. But even with me not really being into that so much, I give this like a 9. It's so funny. Essentially, it's like Back to the Future, but every time they go to fix something, they wreck something.
Right.
They not only don't fix it, but they wreck something else. So it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's so hilarious. So anyway,
all right,
check out Future Man, but not with your kids around. What were you gonna say, Mike?
I was just thinking, on your rating scale, since you watch these all at home, you should rate them in bags of popcorn.
Since I watch them at home, I should rate them in bags of popcorn.
Yeah. Like this is a 9 bags of popcorn movie.
All right.
I don't know.
Let's put it in stone. That's officially my new rating system. Bags of popcorn. Yeah. Got it. So I can give like 9 bags and 1 kernel or something like that.
Yeah. 9 bags and a handful or something.
But anyway, this is a lot of fun and it's ridiculous. So check it out. I think you'd love it too, Mike. But yeah, not with the kids around. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it when movies are kind of so ridiculous that they kind of make fun of themselves and the ridiculousness.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But this is a series. Oh, and this came out in actually 2017, I think. And it went for 3 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, for late night watching. Exactly, Karen. I actually watched it with my headphones on so no one else could hear it. It was so ridiculous. Because it's not only cursing, but like I said, again, Seth Rogen type crazy humor. It's like, it's bad, but hilarious. So anyway. All right, let's go into the Mandalorian of the hour. How about that? Anyway. Mike. Thanks, Karen. Mike.
Yeah.
You're not up to speed at all on The Mandalorian.
I'm such a failure. I really am.
You've got something against Mandalorians because you were bad with Boba Fett too. You were good with Obi-Wan though.
Yeah, I loved Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And I love The Mandalorian. It's I don't know. It's
schedule conflicts. Yeah, got it.
It really is during the week. You know, the kids going to school isn't like it was when we went. It seems like the stress factors are a lot greater. So with the kids being stressed out about school and then Emily working in the school system, the kids, their whole family comes home just stressed out.
Yeah, I understand that completely, of course.
Yeah.
Me and my family essentially have a deal. Well, it's not really a spoken deal, but we speak it when it comes up that essentially if we're saying we're watching a show together,
Mhm.
once it gets to be 3-4 weeks, a month, three, like I said, I double said that. But anyway, once it gets to be a period of time where it's just not working out, us watching it together, we come to okay, is it okay if I just watch this? Then we can watch it together again later if you want, but I really want to check this out. And then we kind of concede, okay, it's obviously not possible right now for us to all watch it together. We'll split it up a bit, and that's fine. It never ends up being bad. Maybe you should think about having something like that,
Yeah, especially a show like this. I know, I think Emily likes the show and enjoys it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my defense, I did try this morning. I figured I'll just go watch the most recent episode, so I at least know that.
You at least know the beginning of the recent episode.
Yeah, and I got halfway through it, so.
And at least you have been good. You haven't been checking out. You've been sticking around. So you're gonna stick around while I talk about it, right?
Yeah, and I fully intend to get through all this. So, and then of course this weekend, the Seven Kings Must Die came out, which is the final movie to finish up the Last Kingdom series. And I cannot express how much I love that series and this movie. It was the perfect way to wrap everything up. So we ended up watching that last night.
Okay.
So
got it. All right. So, man, it sucks not having somebody that can correct me. Well, maybe Karen will help out a bit because she said she's up to date on the Mandalorian as well. But knowing my memory without Pat here, I'm probably going to forget something, but we'll try anyway. So essentially, episode 6, what happens in that episode is we see the first time that Mando and Bo-Katan are kind of heading out, looking to gather other Mandalorian tribes, for them all to kind of become one, if you remember what we talked about before, where the armorers kind of using Bo-Katan being a part of the old world and the new world of the Mandalorians to kind of bring all Mandalorians together, So we start episode 6 actually with them in space. We're in space with some of Bo-Katan's old Mando friends and encountering the race that Admiral Akbar is, and Squid Head. You remember Squid Head from? They have alien names, and I'm sorry, I'm not enough of a Star Wars nerd to remember their alien names. But essentially, those are the two races: Squid Head from the OG Star Wars, and Admiral Akbar from OG Star Wars. They're alien races. There's 2 new characters we come to meet in the beginning of episode 6, and Bo-Katan's old Mando buddies are there to capture them for it's a whole sequence of something that really didn't have anything to do with the Mando, but it was pretty interesting for the first 10 minutes. And then we catch up with Mando and Bo-Katan flying to meet the group of the Mandalorians we just experienced in the first 10 minutes. And they have hired on to be a part of this planetary kingdom that has none other than, well, I guess I don't have to put a spoiler up if it was 2 weeks ago, right? Wasn't
right.
Even the last episode. It was the one before that. So anyway, the king and the queen of this kingdom are Jack Black and Lizzo. Okay.
Yeah, you would talk to me a little bit about that, and then you didn't reveal it to me, but then I ended up seeing it spoiled somewhere else.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah, it's if you haven't watched it yet, you probably know anyway. It's everywhere. Yeah. So essentially what happens is they're actually headed to meet with this old group of Mandos, and while they're doing that, they actually get caught in a tractor beam, and the kingdom kind of sucks them in to take them right to Jack Black and Lizzo. And they were interesting. It's a very bright, flowery, happy kind of kingdom. It's like it's definitely different than what you typically see in all these Mandalorian episodes, very dark and dirty and stuff. It's very clean, bright, happy place. And they actually, like I said, they meet up with Jack Black and Lizzo, and which they both did fine too. They, their characters were interesting. Grogu falls for Lizzo as far as not love, but Grogu really likes Lizzo. I guess he probably likes Jack Black for that matter. But anyway, then Jack Black and Lizzo hire Mando and Bo-Katan to rid them of this problem they're having in their bottom levels of their kingdom, where they do, all maintenance and shipping and all this stuff all takes place, because they have actually gotten battle droids from, the Clone Wars era. And they have reprogrammed them to be essentially workers for them. But they're starting to have problems with these battle droids kind of just doing what they want and wreaking havoc and stuff, right? So they need help, because they are kind of a, for lack of a better way to describe it, kind of a soft, race of people, and this kingdom is kind of full of soft people. They need some tough guys to go down there. And of course they ask, yeah, right. When they ask Mandalorian, Karen's chiming in there, reminding me of something. Thank you, Karen. When they ask the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan to help, Bo-Katan's like, well, I guess we can help. And then she looks over at Mando, and she's like, what do you think, Mando? And Mando's like, you had me at battle droids. He's like, It was a funny moment.
There we go.
Yeah, you had me at battle droids.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You were commenting on Karen's comments, but I wasn't seeing them.
Oh, she put it up for a second, then she took it away.
Oh, I must have blinked or fallen asleep.
I think you just looked away for a minute.
Yeah.
I know you're multitasking during the show, especially when I'm talking, because it takes a while. But anyway,
yeah.
So essentially, episode 6 is this episode that's kind of filled with them dealing with this battle droid situation, and it's kind of plays itself like a little detective-y, like they have to figure things out, not only fight. And it's fine. It's not bad. Incidentally, there was another main character, another major actor in there. Doc Brown from Back to the Future. What's his name? Christopher Lloyd. Yeah. Christopher Lloyd's the guy that's the battle droid maintenance guy. So they have to work with him a little bit too. So he's in that too. So this episode really seemed to lean in a bit on big actors and actresses rather than being good. Not saying that it's horrible, but I did say right after this episode, I'm like, okay, that's definitely my least favorite episode of the season so far.
Do you find actors and actresses like that? Well, Lizzo's not really an actress; she's a singer performer. Do you like someone like Jack Black? He's a a larger than life personality. Do you find them to be distractions in the story that we're trying to watch here?
No, I think they pretty much played characters that seem to fit the people we know them as already. So it wasn't really distracting with them kind of being like that. So yeah, I don't think so. What was distracting is that I didn't really much like this episode very much at all. It was, and here's the biggest reason why. It was goofy as heck. There was a lot of goofiness going on here,
Yeah.
Which, again, as I've stated many times, being a huge Mandalorian fan, and again, I'm not talking about this show. I've been a Mandalorian fan since the 80s, and when they get too goofy, it's just isn't my thing. So anyway, that's why this one fell short for me. But then they team up. Once they get all that done for Lizzo and Jack Black, then they're able to do what they intended to do to begin with, which is to then team up with the old school Mandalorians to bring them back to join their, tribe and stuff, right? So then we get into episode 7, and it was really cool. So they have an Empire's what ship is it? It's Karen, do you remember what the name of that ship was? Okay. So anyway, they have one of the huge, battle ships from the Empire. The smallest one of the big ones. Man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on them right now. But anyway, it was still really cool. They have the whole Mando emblem painted on the bottom of it. So it looks really awesome. And then they've got a bunch of little ships, real similar to Bo-Katan's for most part, but then other types of ships, all kind of this big fleet of ships right around this huge Empire ship too. When they come into, to meet up with all the other Mandalorians, it's a really cool scene. I loved it. And then they land, and then we go through a little bit of drama with Mandos, old school and new school Mandos not getting along and kind of insulting each other, and just, like I said, drama. That's I guess they made that happen just so we understand that these people really don't like each other too much, Then, of course, Bo-Katan brings them together to then go and try to retake Mandalore. Okay. And when they get to Mandalore, I guess I should maybe I should put up a spoiler now.
Spoiler for this.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody watching, if you don't want to hear any of this, mute us till the spoiler alert symbol is gone. Anybody listening, give us 10 minutes. Me talking about myself. Hopefully it won't take that long. But anyway, so when they get to Mandalore, and this was a big reveal, the people that are there to stop them are Moff Gideon's troopers. You remember Moff Gideon, Mike?
Yeah. He was at the beginning of this episode. He was there with that the council, and they were kind of planning. He was looking for
yes, yeah, totally forgot
reinforcements and stuff like that.
Yes. So yeah, that happened at the beginning. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so Moff Gideon's at the beginning of the episode meeting with a council. It seems like there's 5 or 6 other Imperial leaders still kind of running their own factions in different parts of the galaxy.
Right.
And it seems like one guy is doing really well and the rest are struggling. So Moff Gideon asks the one guy that's doing really well, hey, I need some reinforcements. It's new TIE fighters and yada, yada, all this stuff, right?
Yep.
So then when we get to the end and the Mandalorians are trying to retake Mandalore, we see all these reinforcements that he obviously was able to get, and some new battle droids. And they're jetpacking all over the place, fighting the Mandos, and they're pretty much getting their butt handed to them. And Moff Gideon then takes Mandalorian, kidnaps him. You didn't see that. You didn't make it that far in the episode.
Right. I made it to and I have to say the scene where they're flying to Mandalore, and then they send down the security. They've got the security group that goes down first.
Yeah.
Landing. The floor opens up, and then they just drop out. That was awesome. It looked so cool.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because they also met up with a completely different third set of Mandalorians,
right,
that never left Mandalore. So they're kind of really old school. They're as primitive as Mandalorians get, I guess you would say. They're floating around on the surface in this sailboat kind of thing. Yeah. Jesse was immediate to point out. She's like, "Oh, pirates in Mandalore. Oh, that's perfect for you." And I was like, "Yeah, that is pretty cool." They mixed it up with, again, primitive Mandalorians as well. So that was fun. And then they got attacked by another humongous monster. This one was bigger than their ship, though. So it was a little bit understandable why they had a hard time. This thing crushed the sail barge nearly immediately, and then they had to run from it because it was so big and devastating. Every time that kind of thing happens, it reminds me of episode 2 when they're floating through the planet's core of Naboo, and all those bigger fish just keep coming.
Right.
Every monster we see in the Mandalorian just keeps getting a little bit bigger. So anyway, we saw that was really didn't have too much to do with the story. It was just part of them trying to get to where they were going. They were looking for the Mandalorian, the main forge, I guess. And when they find the main forge is when they run into Moff Gideon and all these new troopers, and they have a big fight, which I thought was awesome. It was really good. It was cool. I thought it was good stuff. I thought everybody kind of held their own, but the new troopers that Moff Gideon has were fighting better than regular stormtroopers. And like I said, they were jetpacking around. It was pretty cool. And then Moff Gideon drops down, and he's got super trooper suit on as well, and he's jetpacking. And he's actually wearing a helmet, a Mando helmet that's got like Darth Maul horns on the helmet, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I didn't see that, but I can envision that because, you know, in the beginning of that episode, even just when he presents himself, you know, he's got the cape, he's got a very Darth Vader look to him.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, man, he would look so great with a helmet. Well, I guess the end of this episode, he gets a helmet.
Yeah. Like, I guess for a couple seconds, you're not supposed to know it's him until he takes his helmet off. Like, it's a secret until he technically takes his helmet off. But that's only like 5 seconds between when you first see him and he takes it off.
Okay.
But people are calling him Maulorians, you know, because it's like a Darth Maul head, you know. But which, you know, there's the thing. Obviously, Darth Maul. I shouldn't say obviously for anybody who doesn't know, Darth Maul isn't dead. You know, he and one of my favorite story arcs in the Clone Wars ends with Darth Maul getting his butt kicked by the Emperor, and the Emperor saying, you know, we've got future plans for you. And then he reappears in the Rebels cartoon. Wait, no, actually, hold on a sec. Oh, Rebels takes place after The Mandalorian, though. Yeah. I'm forgetting my timeline anyway. I shouldn't even reveal that anything about Rebels. But anyway, he was in the Clone Wars. So there's a whole gap there. I guess it seems like with this Maul head helmet, we might maybe get a little bit of Maul action. I don't know. You know, we'll see. But anyway, they take the Mandalorian. Moff Gideon gets in this whole monologue about how, you know, all of these different species of beings have something to offer, and what the Mandalorians are offering, and you know what they're getting from the Mandalorians is their armor, and you know, they talk about how the Jedi, they get, you know, their weapons, and you learn about Force sensitive stuff, you know, all these things. They're essentially trying to what the gist we're getting is clone like a perfect fighting thing, you know, being or something of some type. That's kind of where I felt like this was all going, because, you know, cloning is what was happening with the scientist when he was originally trying to get Grogu to begin with, you know. So it's which my speculation again is this all will also explain how we got, hopefully will explain how we got a cloned Emperor in episode 9, you know. So it's all this cool stuff happening that everybody's, you know, speculating as to what everything means and how it's all going to work out, of course. I don't really get into all that. I just kind of ride it and hopefully enjoy the ride, you know. So the only complaint I had about this is they do actually sacrifice Paz Vizsla in this to save the rest of the Mandalorians. He actually does this whole hero thing. It's like, okay, you guys all get out of here. I'll fight them while you run, essentially. And the only thing I didn't like about this is Bo-Katan at first is like, no, we're not leaving without you. And he hits this button and he closes this door behind him while he's fighting off all these troopers. And essentially this is like a blast door that takes like 5 minutes to get through anyway. While then Bo-Katan uses her Darksaber to cut through a blast door that's behind her to escape. Yeah. So the only thing I was questioning like nearly immediately is why he didn't hit the button while he was going behind it as well. Why he had to stay out in danger,
right,
to die while everybody else was escaping. That kind of, I was like, wait, I don't know. But anyway, it was still fine. It wasn't bad. But yeah, then we, you know, rest in peace, Paz Vizsla. So, you know.
I got a question about the armor. You know, since the beginning, she's really interesting character. I think I've never felt any distrust for her, but in this episode, just kind of the way she was carrying herself, I was like, man, I don't know if I trust her. And maybe I'm just reading her movements wrong, but
there might be something to that. I don't know. I don't know is the answer to that question. You might be right, because you know, she actually comes from, when Bo-Katan first came around, she was with the Death Watch, which the Death Watch is Mandalorians that are essentially mad at all other Mandalorians for. Okay, so in the Clone Wars, there was a queen of Mandalore. It's actually Obi-Wan Kenobi's girlfriend, or a girl he was in love with. There was this whole love tension in between them in the cartoon, and she was the queen of Mandalore, and she was like a pacifist, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of Mandalorians resented the fact that, hey, we're not pacifists, we're Mandalorians, you know? So there was a whole tension like that in the Clone Wars, and basically the Death Watch became terrorist Mandalorians. Like, they were the bad guys. And Bo-Katan was part of them. So, yeah, she doesn't have I've always been a good guy history.
Right.
Essentially, she seemed to kind of turn a little bit whenever everything plays out with Mandalore and Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, and her sister was the queen. So then the queen actually gets killed, and when that happens, she kind of turns to help the Jedi and become good. It was really complicated. Essentially, that's my favorite story arc of all the Clone Wars. Anyway, too, check it out. If you don't only watch any Clone Wars, watch that. I think it's 4 episodes in season 6, I believe. But anyway, it's ridiculous. It's so awesome. I think it holds up with any trilogy. Those 4 Clone Wars episodes, so good. But anyway, so yeah, there might be something to that. Maybe Bo-Katan isn't totally on the up and up all the time, or maybe she is flexible with her intent. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen's chiming in saying, I think she's questioning everything she was raised to know. You might be right, Karen. Yep. Which it seems like, we're on this philosophical journey as they try to bring all the Mandalorians together anyway. So, I thought this episode was great, though. This was probably in my, top 2 or 3 episodes of the season. So it went from in episode 6 to that was awesome in episode 7, in my opinion. So
yeah. So more effort on story and less effort on flashy guest appearances.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, Mike.
Yeah.
And all this is leading up to, I think the final episode is episode 8. So episode 8 should be ridiculous. So you need to
I need to catch up.
Yeah, you need to catch up. So
yeah.
But anyway, that's all I watched this week that anyone on this live streaming podcast would care about. So that'll do it for me.
Yep. Spoiler.
Oh yeah.
We can remove the spoiler. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So again, recap now that the spoiler's down. Episode 6 was just okay. My least favorite episode of the season, and episode 7 was awesome. So it definitely was a quick turnaround comeback.
Right.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Karen. All right, now it's your turn, Mike, again. You ready?
Yep.
You'll see what it is once I play the intro, right?
Yeah, I have I have an idea. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was just playing on that. I thought like the last episode you said like, I don't even know what we're doing next. I was just playing on that. But if you knew, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Well, actually, this time I wrote everything down.
Okay.
So, all right, we have this week's pick 3. As we saw there. These all hit the shelf on Wednesday, the 19th. And we're starting
3 days. Got it.
Yep. 3 days. Get your orders in if you see a cool cover you like. Because I did. We'll start with Nightwing 103, Bruno Redondo. And I have to say, he's got some of the most clever covers going in the last probably year and a half.
Yeah, very entertaining covers, that's for sure. Yeah.
Red Goblin 3, Inyuk Lee. Black Adam 10, John Jiang. DC Silent Tales 1, Gustavo Duarte. Amazing Spider-Man 24, the Alex Ross Timeless Vulture cover. Rocket Raccoon number 1, Nick Bradshaw. The Superman number 3, Francisco Matina. Captain America Unforgiven number 1, Eric M. Gist. And Kid Slapshot versus Zamboni number 1, Troy Dongara. And Wonder Woman 798 by Joelle Jones. This was, I don't know if you can tell by this or not, but I had some troubles picking 10 worthy covers.
Well, the only thing I would say that about is the Slapshot, but that's probably one of your favorites, huh?
It actually is. I voted for that one.
Okay.
And then, not surprising, and when I say this, Tyler has the first series. This is a second series. He has the first series of this.
Oh, really? That is cool.
I had never heard of it before. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I have that."
How many were in the first series?
I think it was like a 3 or 4 issue miniseries, maybe something like that. But he's like, "Yeah, I got the last one." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "The last series." So I thought that was great.
That is great.
Actually, somebody recognized this. It's the first time I ever saw it. So
obviously, we could know that's right up his alley by the title, but yeah, who knew? Yep, I didn't know.
Yep, and I thought this would be a fun one. I thought the kids would like it.
Yeah, but overall, I think this is a really good week still. I mean, I definitely had a hard time. There was 4 or 5 I wanted to pick for my top 3. That's for sure.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Once it was all said and done, I'm like, okay, yeah, these are pretty good. But a lot of times I have, there's 12 or 13, but this one, it was a bit of a struggle. And the DC Silent Tales number 1, I ended up ordering that for myself after I saw that. I completely missed it when it was solicited, and it looks pretty good. I like that.
That's so funny you say that. So if I was to guess, the bottom 3, in my opinion, would be the Silent Tales, Slapshot, and Rocket. The rest are awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll do a little spoiler before we reveal the winners. Yeah, Rocket had 0 votes.
Okay, I nailed it there. Got it. Okay.
Kid Slapshot versus Zamboni had 2. That would be Tyler and myself.
Wow. Okay.
And DC Silent Tales surprisingly had 3. 2 of them. One of them was me. The other one was Patrick. I figured Patrick would definitely vote for that one, and Core as well.
Okay,
so
nice.
Those 3 were not in the top 3, but
they weren't in the bottom 3. Got it.
Well, they were in the bottom 3 actually.
Oh,
no, there was there was one other one that only received 1 vote, and that was my vote. So I didn't pick any of the top 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was shut out.
I was surprised at what my family picked. They picked totally different than I did, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what makes your 10 picks great, Mike. You pick a great mix of stuff.
Oh, thank you. This was there was a 5. There was a 3-way tie for first place.
Oh wow. Okay. So these are essentially the top 3 all actually are number 1 for your scientific method.
Right. And sometimes my scientific method involves me, and this time it didn't work because I didn't vote for any of them.
All right, gotcha.
So I had to resort. I actually called on my brother to lend a helping hand. So,
okay.
So there's a big thank you to my brother Patrick.
Okay.
All right. Coming in at number 3/1 is there we go. Nightwing, number 103, Bruno Redondo.
Nice.
Yeah, it was funny. Marcus.
Sorry.
Yeah. Marcus looked at this and he's like, I don't get it. I'm like, well, that's the way comic books used to come.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I think those are more
postcards.
Postcards, but
the postcard spinner rack, which I think they still actually have those if you go to the right places sometimes.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, you know what? Just now I'm realizing those are postcards and not comic books. So my explanation to Marcus was way off.
Oh,
because I'm just like, wait, those are all Bloodhaven, and that's what you do. You go to Pittsburgh and there's all kinds of Pittsburgh postcards.
Right. Oh well, you can re-explain it to Mark later.
I probably won't.
Okay.
All right. And coming in number 2. And this was a last. This was the actual last cover that I added to the list. It's Wonder Woman 798, Joelle Jones.
Shocking.
Yeah, I think because it's different, it has a different look to it.
I guess. There's just not enough there to be good for me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, your family and my family loved it.
They did, exactly. I know. When all of them came through picking this, I was like, okay.
Yep.
Which, yeah, again, like I said, it's a good cover. It's just I don't see why it's better than the others. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just think it has that different look. Sometimes the other ones kind of all just run together real similar, and this one stands out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And coming in at number 1, I'm not surprised by this one. And
Mike, you forgot to wait. You forgot to wait for the drum roll.
I forgot it was coming. Sorry, Karen. Red Goblin number 3.
Karen was spot on.
Yeah,
Red Goblin. I didn't vote for this one either. Dadgum.
Yep. Neither did I.
Which I like this one, but yeah. Wow.
Wait, are you sure you didn't vote for this one?
I'm pretty sure, didn't I? Did I?
Yeah, I have it down that you did.
Okay, put them up again.
I can check my phone.
So I think if my memory serves, I thought I picked Superman. Oh yeah, I did pick Red Goblin. Yeah.
Yep. Red Goblin, Amazing Spider-Man, and Superman.
Yeah.
I was saying, man, if I mess that up, then that's 3rd place.
Yeah, I said Vulture. I said Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right.
Perfect. Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Sorry about it.
Hey, I voted for that Captain America Unbroken. I love that cover.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
It
that
just
was in my running. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the only one that voted for that one.
I'm shocked that Superman. I totally expected Superman to get number 1. That's a great cover.
Yeah, 4 votes.
Wow.
Yep. So there we go. That's the pick 3 for this week.
Very nice.
Thank you. And the biggest thing, I left the list at work Friday, so I had to redo my whole thing. So I'll go look at it. There's probably I switched out a couple probably.
That'd be interesting to see which ones you had on your list on Friday that didn't make the cut on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I've said this a bunch of times too. Whenever we have a break week, it throws off everything. Like, when we have a bunch of weeks in a row, it gets you into a good rhythm.
Yeah.
But then we have a break week. It's like, hey, we haven't gotten the pick 3 Friday. We need that. And then Saturday you put it out. But then everybody else, if they were expecting it on Friday, might not get their votes in on Saturday. You said a couple people didn't get their votes in.
Yeah.
It throws everything off. So, but we need those breaks. We need those breaks for sure. So
yeah. And as you know, I'm a beekeeper too, so it's beekeeping season.
Yes.
It's swarm season. It's so spent most of Saturday dealing with that, a few days during the week dealing with them. So it's almost like on that break period, I forget that I collect comic books.
Right. All right. Speaking of that, hopefully you've got a review though.
Yes, I do.
All right, sweet. Here we go. Awesome. I was hoping you would be because I have one too, but I was thinking without Pat. Just me doing a review by myself, that might be lacking. So thank God
Right.
you do.
Yep. And the funny thing about my review, I read this book this morning.
Okay.
But I tried to read this. I wanted to review this the last show.
Okay.
But I started reading it and I just lost interest in it. So
So you gave it another shot.
So I came back to it. And yeah, I read it, or actually I read it last night and I wrote my review this morning. And yeah, I was really glad that I did. And it kind of goes back to the Future Man. Was it Future Man? Is that the name of your show?
Yeah. Future Man. Yeah.
You know, you got into it and is like bailed on it, and then you came back to it and actually found out you enjoyed it.
All right, cool. What is it? What are we talking about?
We are talking about issue number 2 of the Blue Book. Okay. I always take pictures of the actual book that I read. I kind of like
cool.
Yeah, I like to, just to present it in a different way than just a big picture.
Yeah, that's you. You're artsy cool like that. Yeah.
Artsy cool. So anyway, we've got the Blue Book number 2 by James Tinian IV and Michael Oeming on art. This came out on March 22nd. Number 3 comes out April 26th. And I'll probably get it in May. So the first thing I want to say is how much I love the art.
Okay.
I like the the black, white, and blue, but just kind of the starkness of it. With just those 3 colors, I think he's kind of limited. I've never looked at any other artwork by Michael Oeming, and I probably will, just to see if this is his regular style pretty much, or if he's adapted to this story. But I just love the artwork. It's one of my favorite parts of the book.
Great. It is very simple but cool.
Yeah. So as you may remember, this is basically about Betty and Barney, husband and wife, and their experience on being abducted by aliens. This is based on their testimony, actual events. You can believe it or not if they were truly actual events, but it's their account. And so in this one, we've got Betty. She wants to, or they want to handle the event, the after effects of the event differently. Betty wants to kind of talk about it, while Barney just wants to go on as if it didn't happen. But she talks to her sister, and her sister actually tells her to get a compass and go out to the car. That's what she's doing in this panel here. And there are different parts of the car cause the compass to go crazy. So it's kind of like a radioactive reading or something like that. So she ends up contacting the Peace Air Force Base, and she gets a hold of I thought I had the gentleman's name here, but anyway, she tells the story, and her husband ends up going along with it because it's important to her. So they both tell their story, and the report, this is where we get the title of the book. The report is recorded by the Air Force's Project Blue Book. So that explains the title of the book.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious about that. Right.
Yep. So it's moving along slowly. In the way this issue ended was kind of Barney was withholding some information from the Project Blue Book Air Force people, and that's about the actual beings that he saw. So issue 3, hopefully we'll get some more information about the actual aliens. This kind of looking at my pictures here, I would say this is a get it. And when I read issue 1, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, maybe not, but yeah, this is really good. It's It's written well. The artwork's fantastic. So I would definitely say get this.
So let me ask you this. In the story,
Mhm.
when they're basically recapping what happened to them, is that when you're seeing it? Like, are they kind of telling the story and they're showing visually with the art that what they're telling in their stories?
We haven't got to that. They kind of in the first issue, we saw not the details. It's just kind of the bigger picture of them seeing a spacecraft, and then in this one, they just you get the story of them telling the Air Force and the discussion between them about if they want to share the story or not.
Okay.
So we don't have the specifics yet. I'm guessing in issue number 3, we might start getting more details about. I can't remember how much time they lost, an hour or 2 hours, or just
So
lost.
what happened? Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm guessing issue 2 or issue 3 and 4 is going to be, the breakdown of what actually happened.
So is this going to be 4 issues? Is that what it is essentially?
I think it's 6.
Okay.
And it's telling the story real slowly. It's because it's not the full book. There's a backup story in issue 1 and 2, both written by James Tynion, but different artists. And I haven't read the backup stories. I may, once I get them all, I may go read the backup stories. They're much shorter. They're maybe 4 pages.
Okay.
So
who's the publisher? This is Image.
No, this is Dark Horse.
Oh, Dark Horse. Okay.
Yeah. Let me and then so now that I'm 2 issues in, I may go back and try to watch this again. The UFO incident, which is the movie based on this with James Earl Jones.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. I wanted to check that out just from what Kevin watched as well. Essentially, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait till you're done with the complete comic, and then I'm gonna watch the UFO incident and give my take on the movie.
Yeah.
If you don't do it in the meantime as well, basically. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try to watch it as well. So when we do talk about the movie, it's made for TV.
Something to say.
When we talk about this, we'll have a little back and forth for it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is and James Tynion, he's got stuff from Boom, DC. Yeah, this is Dark Horse, and then Dark Horse. So he's and Image. Does he have something at Image? Anyway, he's publishing all over the place. And then him and a few other creators just created a new publisher. I don't recall the name of it. Anyway, maybe I'll bring that up next week.
Incidentally, what was your biggest attraction to this title?
James Tynion.
Okay.
Because I had no idea what it was about.
Gotcha.
It's just pretty much anything he writes. I think he's one of the top tier writers right now.
Okay.
But like I said on my review of number 1, there's not a lot of wiggle room on him being overly creative with the story. He can be creative with the way he tells the story, but he's just kind of retelling someone else's tale.
Gotcha.
So this is a get it.
Okay, cool. All right, I continued my journey in Monstrous. Of course, got the trade paperback volume 1, and I read chapter, which is essentially issue number 5 and number 6. And here's the covers for those, and kind of real quick without going back to the beginning again to recap. This is following, and I noticed as I was listening to our last episode, I pronounced her name in different ways multiple times. But the main character there, if you look on the cover of issue 5 on the left side, there's Maika. It's how would you pronounce Maika?
Miyaka? Micah? Micah?
Micah's the easiest way. That's because I think it's complicated to say, so that's why I keep changing it, because I keep forgetting how I said it last time. So I'm just going to go with Micah, though, because that's easy. Okay, so we'll just call her Micah from this point on. But this follows Micah, who is an arcanic in this world where basically humans and arcanics are fighting each other all the time. Arcanics are essentially kind of half breed, half human, half they call them ancients, which there's these powerful beings that are they're all like animals of types. And she's kind of the Arcanics are the offspring of an ancient and a human getting together, and they created these Arcanics. This is thousands and thousands of years prior to this story with Micah starting. But essentially, the humans are using and abusing the Arcanics in bad ways. But there is an Arcanic civilization that's separate from human civilization. They had a big war back in the day. And it was so big, so many of them died that they kind of have a treaty. So they have their own separate worlds. But as you can imagine, still humans are trying to track them down and fight them. And then there's Karen's asking, sounds Egyptian mythology to me. Yeah, kind of like that, Karen. Yeah. And the humans have allies called Cumaeans, that they have powers. They're humans with abilities, essentially, and they get these abilities basically from Arcanics. They can draw something out of the bones of Arcanics to give them powers. I guess some of them already had natural ability. It's a little bit complicated how they try to explain it. But basically, but there are some humans that are on the side of Arcanics as well. They're called Edenites, and there's this all kinds of constant fighting going on. And on the Arcanic side, there are really, really powerful Arcanics, and then there's just kind of peasant Arcanics too. Like Micah's best friend is like what I'd say she was a fox last time I talked about the last couple issues. She's got like a buddy that's a half girl, half fox. And then they both have this cat. Cats are like a totally different race in this world. And they're like super smart too. And they talk and they're awesome. And some of them are on the human side and some of them are on the Arcanic side. They're kind of split. But anyway, so where I left off is where Micah is kind of searching to get answers for this being that is essentially inside her. I use the reference as kind of like Venom the movie, how Venom's inside Brock, and he kind of talks to him and comes out, and sometimes he doesn't, and he is kind of in control of himself, but also can be controlled. That's kind of where Micah is with this being of unknown origin that's inside of her. And the being kind of reminds you of Venom as well, as far as it's a black ooze that kind of comes out and it kind of forms this tentacle monster craziness. And like I said, where we left off in the last issue was they kind of realized they had their own separate consciousness. So we see them talking to each other, and they both agree they need to go on this journey to figure out how they got to where they are, essentially. So in issue 5, this is a very political issue, meaning we learn the politics of not only what we already partially understood with just human versus Arcanics, but there's like people that are disagreeing with each other on the Arcanic side and people that disagree with each other on the human side as well. So we start to learn about all the politics of this world and the dynamics involving all of that in this issue. Like there's literally no action in issue chapter 5 at all. It's literally just a lot of talking with a lot of people expressing their views and kind of explaining to us a little bit more complex things we hadn't known already. It isn't bad, but obviously I'm more reading for some fun actiony stuff. So this definitely wasn't my favorite chapter, an issue, but it's probably needed for what I need to know going forward. So it was fine. It just wasn't very entertaining in my own personal opinion. But as far as, if you're going to read the series, you definitely need this one. So I've been calling everything else a major get it / must-haves. So this kind of just needs to continue that trend because it's not bad. It's just not my type of comic in general. So then we get to issue 6. And chapter 6, and this does the exact opposite of issue 5. This is kind of similar to the Mandalorian, I guess, my review of the Mandalorian. So in issue 6, chapter 6, again, sorry, I keep saying that. The humans and the people that they've sent to find Micah end up finding her. And at this point, when we get to issue 6, Micah has found the other Arcanics, and she's with the powerful Arcanics. And so now this kind of has to be a big fight in between the humans and the Arcanics. And of course, the Humans get involved to help the humans fight the Arcanics. Oh, and there's something I forgot. Actually, I should have said this already. At the end of issue 5, that's when Micah actually meets up with the court. It's called the Dusk Court. There's a Dusk Court and a Dawn Court. That's what actually competing Arcanan factions. They're both Arcanan, but they kind of disagree with each other, I guess. But she meets up with this court that sent somebody out to get Micah. That's how she finds them. This guy that they send out to find Micah finds her, brings her back to the court of Arcanics, and they actually capture her. They get her close enough, pretending that, hey, the guy that found her is pretending that he's going to help her answer all the questions she has about the being that's inside of her. But it was all just a ruse. Once he gets her close enough to the court, a bunch of Arcanics come out and just grab her, and they put him in a sarcophagus and put her to sleep because she's too dangerous and too powerful to live in this world. So then, actually, like I said, that was at the end of issue 5. So in issue 6, the humans meet up with, or finally discover where Micah is with the Arcanics. Now the Arcanics have to fight the humans, and they don't even care about Micah. They just want to essentially remove her from the playing field because she's too powerful and too dangerous. And she doesn't exactly agree, again, for lack of a better way to describe it, politically with the way the Arcanans are anyway. So they have a little conflict there between Micah herself and the way the Arcanics are as well. So when the humans come to get Micah, Micah's in the sarcophagus. They have to start fighting the Arcanics. The Arcanics start losing. So then they decide they want to kill Micah because they know that the humans are after Micah, or actually more appropriately, the Humans that are with the humans are after Micah to use her power to finally rid the planet of Arcanics. That's kind of like the humans' objective, And so the whole time they're fighting, Micah's in the sarcophagus. And the whole time they're fighting and she's in the sarcophagus, we're reading pages of story that's going on where her and the being inside of her are talking to each other, trying to devise a plan to escape the sarcophagus. So it's this whole interesting dynamic. It's like this triple dynamic going on. We're like hearing Arcanic political bickering while they're fighting the humans, while we have humans bickering, while we see Micah and the being inside her bickering. It's really interesting. And again, I've already given this comic a props a couple times that the writing is done well enough, though it's crystal clear to me the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what sometimes when you get these, stories that are so fantastic and so out there,
they can lose you.
Yeah, you're just afraid that you're going to get lost in what you're reading. But so to keep it understandable and everything is very attractive for this.
Yeah. They do a real good job with that. And essentially at the end of this issue, they do find a way to escape the sarcophagus right before the Arcanics kill them. Because essentially what the Arcanics try to do is they basically turn off all the life support in the sarcophagus. This is like a future sci-fi space sarcophagus. They're basically just in hibernation, So the Arcanics are trying to turn the life support, or not even trying, they are turning the life support off when they decide basically they've lost the fight against the humans and the humans will get her anyway. So that's how they're trying to kill her, by turning the life support off. But right before that happens, there's an instant where essentially where they're not quite dead, but there's this instance of awareness before they die that they're able to use that to their advantage to escape. So essentially this issue ends up with the being inside Micah and Micah finally agreeing, kind of making a truce with each other. Okay, when this happens, you can be in control, but then I'll give you control. You know, they kind of start to, again, Venom reference. They kind of start to come to this agreement as to who's controlling them at what point in time is agreed upon, you know? So like I said, this ends with them escaping after they've come to these agreements, and that's kind of where they kind of finish this issue off. So.
And what issue was that? 6?
Yeah, it's issue 6.
6.
And there's a spoiler right at the end of this, after the not a spoiler, cliffhanger at the end of this, right after the humans defeat the Arcanics, but Micah and the being escape with their fox girl and cat girlfriend. We find out one of the humans that's actually been after her the whole time is actually who we thought. You know how I told you there's a lot of flashbacks in this book, where the human that we thought was her friend in her flashbacks actually reveals herself as one of the lead humans that's been trying to find her. So that's where it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. And I meant to show you this. I meant to take a picture of this, but I'll just show you this now. Remember I told you how the cat's kind of explaining everything at the end of every issue?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. That's a great tool also.
Yeah, so it wraps up the story at the end. So essentially, especially when I don't read it for a few days and I leave and I come back, I'll read the cat's summary of the previous which is the last page of the previous comic before I'll read the new comic anyway. So. But I think it's still a solid get it, possible must have, you know.
Yeah.
But it's really still really good.
Yeah, the series is up to issue 44 right now.
Yeah, I got a while to catch up. I need to be reading a couple every other day rather than a couple a week. I'll never catch up. Well, I guess at a couple a week, I'm going to eventually catch up. You know?
Yeah, I think they're on a break right now. It's because it's just the 2 women creators writing and doing all the artwork. So I think they take those breaks.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, it's a great way to publish. They do 6 issues or 12 issues, and then they take a couple months off to where they release the trade paperbacks in lieu of the single issue, and then they come back. And I think it's great. It helps people, you know, with their budget and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, but it helps them not get burned out on it and come up with new ideas and stuff. Yeah. That's good stuff so far. So I'm going to continue, and yeah.
Well, that's good to hear.
Well, after I get through the next, so I have to move into trade 2 next. I don't know when I'm going to trade 3, maybe in my next DCBS order, but I might have to stop, and I'll have to wait until I get them and review something else. I might review something else anyway. I don't know if anybody's getting tired or enjoying the continuing adventures every show of what say you, Karen? You think you're enjoying, or I need to?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, you can be reviewing this book for the next 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Karen, should I just continue to review this same book? Am I telling it in a way that people are enjoying this story? Or... Okay. I don't know how to fix that, Karen. You know, actually, let me restate that. I do know how to fix that. If you look at the line that's right below where the clap is, if you don't use up the whole clap, if you end it early, you can hit it and then it'll open up a dot. You can pull that all the way to the beginning again. So the next time you use it, it'll be at the beginning, and then rather than finishing off where you. Yeah. Okay. Live and learn, right? All right. So that'll move us into right into the recap. We've got no collectibles on the horizon. Sad days.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure everybody's pocket or their wallet is feeling the relief. There's a collectible I recently saw, and I wanted to buy it. It was at Walmart, and I don't collect pops, but there's a Joan Jett Funko Pop, and I saw that. I'm like, oh man, I need to get that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
I passed on it.
What did I get? I got something last week. Daggum, I can't remember what it is now, but I did get a collectible last week. I should have had something ready for some kind of collectible segment. Sorry, we let you down, Pat. Sorry. He'll have a double episode. He'll have a doubly long segment next show. It's like, don't set me up like that.
Right.
So, all right, then that'll move us right into the recap. Then that'll do it. Then, right, Mike?
Yep.
All right, here we go. All right, you're first. What we got, Mike?
I'll start with the way I started the show. Rest well, Al Jaffee. He's got a huge body of work. He should never be forgotten.
Nice. A whole bunch of stars you may know don't make shows exactly good.
Future Man seems to have a future. Well, that's what I thought until you told me that it came out in 2017 and it had 3 seasons and it's done. So,
well, I might actually. Karen says Kevin needs Pat's correction comments and memory triggers. Exactly, I totally agree with that, Karen.
Memory triggers, I like that.
Yeah. So Karen, yeah, she's getting in on the recap. Awesome, Karen. So I was gonna say something similar to what you just commented on with Future Man, but it also goes into your comic, like you mentioned. When you check something out, even if it sucks for the first few minutes, don't give up. Play it through. Play it through. It might end up being better by the time you get to the end.
Yep.
Karen, you got another one? Not yet, at least. What do you got, Mike?
Let's see. I guess so. Next week, we'll be revealing some Cover Combat 4 information. And since we don't have an actual head-to-head Cover Combat 4, I will do my best to have a new, in case you didn't know. So,
okay, that'll be awesome.
Look for some knowledge next week.
Karen's adding Mike is artsy cool. Yep, that's true. I'm going to interrupt the recap real quick to mention something else. I think this is a good time to mention this since you just said that about having another in case you didn't know. Maybe we could start with our preview. So we've got a new segment that Mike came up with a great idea. Mike, do you want to kind of talk about it for a minute?
Yeah. Basically, we're going to do a show and Kevin, Patrick, and myself will all bring to the table maybe 10 comic books or toys or publications coming out in the upcoming months. So we'll kind of go through previews and come up with some things that we find interesting. You might find interesting as well. Highlight those.
Oh yeah, you wanted that to be a show.
Oh yeah, I assumed it would be a show if they're doing that many.
Say that again, Mike.
I figured the audience needs to calm down. I figured it would be a show if we each had 10. That's 30 items. But we can get it down to a segment and each come up with 3. It'll just be a once a month segment.
Yeah, I don't know why I forgot you talking about it being a show. Yeah, maybe it could be once a month segment. And I was thinking, what Kevin watched, obviously I like that segment. I like talking about what I watched a lot, but it's not it's not the biggest comics and collectibles it's not related to comics and collectibles directly most of the time, So when there's really nothing going on, maybe that would be a good time to have it be a segment that totally replaces what Kevin watched,
Yeah. Well, we want to do it as soon as the previews comes out.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll work out the kinks on that. But I felt like that was worth mentioning. We got a whole either segment or maybe show, depending on what we finally decide, called the previews or the previews preview. And we're gonna preview for people what is coming out in previews that we like. See where it goes. Might be good.
Yeah.
What's that meme? Sometimes good, sometimes, and I'm not going to say it here. We're a family show, but we'll see. We'll see how it ends up. All right, to continue the recap, then, again with Mandalorian, just like I referenced with Dimension 404, you add some stars. It doesn't necessarily mean that your show's going to be good, but then, and this kind of goes with my review. You still come back for the next episode because it might bounce back even better with a bad episode. So,
right,
yeah. You got another one?
Is that for Karen?
Mike, Karen said no, she doesn't.
Okay. This has nothing to do with comic books, but it is the reason that I didn't watch more of The Mandalorian. Seven Kings Must Die on Netflix. Watch it. Highly recommend it. But before you do that, watch the first 5 or all 5 seasons of The Last Kingdom. It is easily in my top 5 favorite shows. I just absolutely love it.
Okay. Yeah, you've definitely you said that many times. I keep failing. Yeah.
many times. It's based on a series of books. And it went out in a great way, wrapped up perfectly.
That's good to hear. Did you hear they're rebooting Harry Potter for HBO Max too?
I did. I heard they've got a 10-year plan.
Yeah, and I guess it's just going to be the books. It's not going to be anything new. I wonder why they're doing that.
Oh, really? Yeah. I wasn't sure about the details. I know J.K. Rowling's directly involved, so anytime the creator of something's directly involved with bringing it to a new format, I'm all for it. I love it.
Yeah.
So that's great.
All right, so that'll do it for a short recap then.
Yep.
All right, then to close it out here, please like and comment on this video, as well as subscribe and hit that bell to get notifications. And please subscribe to Comics and Collectibles in the Crawl Space on Spotify for podcasters or many other podcast providers. And please listen to the edited podcast of this live stream on Spotify that will be posted later today or tomorrow. Follow XcellarComics on Facebook, Instagram, and or Twitter, and follow Xcellar_comics on TikTok and whatnot. Watch our shows on the Whatnot app. I didn't even talk about that today. I've actually changing it up a little bit for next week. I want to do a Wednesday and Thursday show rather than a Tuesday and a Thursday show. Tuesday's show last week was atrocious. So yeah, watch our shows on the Whatnot app on Wednesday and Thursday this week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can bookmark the Wednesday show now, so please do so. I'll wait. No, just kidding. And then check out what we have to offer on eBay at Xcellar_comics and our website, XcellarComics.com. And then last but not least, watch our next live stream on YouTube or Facebook next Sunday at 1:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. And actually, our followers or subs even grew a couple more on YouTube, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And then I'll close it out by saying this too, that what's his name? The comics nerd. What's his name again? Did you write it down?
The winner?
Yeah.
It was the movie nerd. Here, hold on. The movie number 17. Hold on. My computer is so slow. It's like everybody in the neighborhood. David the movie nerd.
David the movie nerd. David the movie nerd. Message us. So hoping he would have commented during the show. Maybe he would have been here. But
so basically, it's the same deal. He has 2 weeks to respond to. You're going to send out, try to contact him in 2 weeks. If you don't hear from him, we'll spin again.
Yeah, exactly.
I really hope he reaches out though. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I'll definitely do my best to contact him. But if anybody knows him, or if David sees this, contact us. And all the miscellaneous, it doesn't matter where you contact us from, just so you get my attention, so I can talk to you, so I can figure out what I'm sending you and where I'm sending it to you. So just need that information.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. Hopefully we'll have Pat next week. A lot of new stuff coming up soon. We're going to be talking about the next Scruffles goals, all that good stuff. So until then, don't forget that appreciating great art is awesome and reading a great story is fun. So why not pick up a comic book and do both? Xcellar out.